to give thanks unto the Lord. Shalom. Welcome to Choices. In these trying and difficult times in which we live, we give God thanks for life, for health and strength, for his mercies, grace, protection, provision, blessings for our families. You know, the psalmist says in the book of Psalm, chapter 107, verse 1, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercies endureth forever." You know, I want to submit it to you. Without God, we cannot make it. We want to challenge you to continue to care and to protect yourself. If you haven't taken the vaccine as yet, we would encourage you to do so before it is too late. Plenty love from us to you. This is Choices. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for taking time to be with us. We want to say God bless you and God continue to bless beautiful Guyana. Again, welcome and be blessed.
Ladies and gentlemen, gratitude is something that we've really been able to understand and experience on an entirely different level during this pandemic. You know, when it comes to social distancing, when it comes to the pain and the suffering that so many of us have had to go through during this period. Some of us might have lost loved ones. Some of us might just not be feeling the same. Our relationships might be a bit under pressure. But even in this moment, even during this time in the pandemic, we as the team at Choices, we want to let you know that gratitude is something that we really experience more than ever before, you know, because it's not so much about what we've lost, but what we have, you know, and it's about appreciating the kind of things that are around us, the things that we could still celebrate and the things that we could still enjoy. And Pastor Singh really highlighted gratitude in a unique way. And he has an amazing story when it comes to his move through the pandemic, how he's been able to grow and develop and to remain thankful. And even as we go through this pandemic, one thing I'd like to really highlight is the importance of understanding how to work together. Because this pandemic is not just about you or it's not about me, it's about all of us. It's about the community, it's about our neighbors, it's about how we're able to move this nation forward, how we're able to create a new normal, how we're able to meet a brand new equilibrium. And I believe that one of the important things for us to do is to rethink how we work together and how we build teams together. And that's what we're going to be kind of highlighting today in our discussion. So enjoy.
The pandemic has affected negatively some aspect of personal and national life, community life also. But I was heartened on Tuesday when I saw a clip pointing to the fact that it was International Teachers' Day. And so despite the pandemic and all of that, and some of the dimming of some activities, I was particularly pleased. And so I found time to say thanks to some of the teachers who played significant role in my life. And so it is good that despite the pandemic, gratitude was able to raise its popular and its beautiful head above all the suffering, all the pains that we have been feeling because we have lost loved ones. But despite that, we were able to say thanks to the teachers who continue during the pandemic, of course, to, as we say, to slug it out, to find innovative ways to still teach, to show compassion, to show love. And all these words speak to gratitude. And they played no small role in still finding time to educate our children. So I want to say thanks to all the teachers here in the city, those in the hinterland especially, who have had to work in difficult times to bring education or to bring learning to the children who are in far-flung areas. In the city, you know, sometimes we complain about the power outages and all of that, but in some of those communities, they are dependent wholly and solely on solar power and the distance they have to commute in order to reach a place of learning. So I want to thank those teachers, particularly from the hinterland areas, and to commend them for the excellent job. So my heartfelt gratitude to all you teachers. God bless you.
And then the whole question of saying thanks to the teachers, I'm very happy that Dr. Lee brought this up, because, you know, it's interesting that teachers and educators have had to innovate over the last year or so. And I want to also recognize them, because they've taken the time to prepare worksheets and all of those things to make sure that our children can actually continue to learn. And those are some of the unsung heroes that we have in our nation. So it's a good thing to recognize them in this season, having just had International Teachers Day. And if I may, on a personal note, just give a shout out to a few of my teachers who I can recall, right from nursery. I had Teacher Tessa, Teacher Winnie, Teacher Robert, all the way through to Teacher Odette. In what they now call grade 6, we called it primary 4 then. So I really appreciate those teachers, because they have made me into the person that I am today. And I can think for myself, I can reason, and on those are things that I don't take for granted. They help me to be able to analyze situations now and be able to serve this nation. So I especially appreciate those teachers. And I'm afraid to get into the high school ones, because there are too many to call. So I'll just stick with the those primary school teachers. So I wish to say thank you for those teachers. And all you know yourselves, and I'm sure you're reasonably proud of me.
Thank you, Deacon Orson. While you said I'm reasonably proud, you reminded me of an experience I had only last Saturday. I went to one of the malls around the city to get a matter done urgently. And upon leaving, I walked into one of my old professors. Mr. Gulsaran, I know you're following. That's how I discovered. I walked into Mr. Gulsaran, who taught mathematics for many years at the Teachers Training College and taught me. And by the time he saw me, he said, "Winston!" And you know, these old professional teachers, you know, with his English well put together. And he looked good for his age. And he was talking about how he has been following, and congratulations on the past work you're doing and the program that you're on. And I said to him, "You're actually following me?" He said, "Yes, I'm proud." And I said to him, "Thank you. You should feel proud for the investment you would have made." So Dr. Lee, when you made an observation of Thanksgiving, not only the teachers do have a reason to say thanks in this COVID-19 environment, we're celebrating Breast Cancer Month, this same month of October. And I'm sure there are lots of survivors who will lift their hands in spite of the challenges of COVID and say, "God, I am still happy to be alive." I think it was yesterday we were recording. What day we were recording? I think it was yesterday. They were celebrating. We're recording on the 7th of October. Yesterday, the 6th, they celebrated World Girls' Day, and they were actually highlighting the opportunities being given to girls in our environment, both for education and for upward mobility. And while there are still challenges around the world, there are many things to give God thanks for. And I asked myself, what if I had decided to do nothing? Just throw up my hand and say, if I die, I die. If I live, I live. I might have been dead by now. But because I made up my mind that I will get involved, in spite of how difficult the challenges around me might be, with the help of God, I am still standing. What about you? I'm sure you can lift your hand and say, Father, thank you.
You know, I
Asano?
don't know if there is, you mentioned old age. I don't know if there is a World Old Age Day, but you know, the contribution of our elderly folks, elderly ladies and gentlemen, we should be grateful for their contribution, not only to our personal lives, but to this nation. And so Monday, last Monday, for a brief while, I was able to assist some pensioners to receive some old age pension benefit. Even though most of them were frail and they had some physical impediment, I tell you what, their lungs were very strong. I mean, I heard some piercing voices and, you know, and well, not just piercing voices, I heard some grammatically correct expression and also some rebuke. So I wondered to myself, you know, this is something, or what they were expressing, you know, those sentiments, those statements seem to have been lost in this generation. The syntaxes were correct, the way most of them conducted themselves. So I want to give a high note of thanks that I was able to interface with the older generation. I was able to help assist some of them because they have made a contribution to this nation. So I want to thank God that I am alive and I was able to help older folks to benefit from what rightfully is due to them, to enjoy and to have a good time as they go through this phase of their life. So I want to thank God
Dr. Lee,
that I was able to help.
Dr. Lee, you are a matured man, and to hear you go and offer the kinds of support you did, you remind me of another young lady who I'm startled over. We have a young lady by the name, as a local church, we sent out several volunteers to assist this program of helping the pensioners to get their new pension book and $25,000 grant given by the government. And like you said, they have made their contribution already, but they're matured in age. So they need assistance in writing up the book. They need assistance in moving from one station to the other, need assistance in crossing the road, need assistance in getting a bottle of water. And I'm happy that you folks we made ourselves available. And I'm still startled by a pensioner, Pastor Evelyn Gulliver. I must announce her name, who volunteered to provide that kind of support. I know sometimes we in the midst of all of the excitement of COVID-19 pandemic, we lose sight of those very important moments where we have been a blessing to someone or someone has been a blessing to us. And so hats off, Pastor Gulliver. I hope you finally go and get your book and your grant while you have already invested in helping others get theirs. God bless you.
You know, Reverend Asano, as we're talking about saying thanks, you know, King David said in First Chronicles, asked a question in First Chronicles, who am I, O Lord, and what is my family that you have brought me this far? Who am I, O Lord, and what is my family that you have brought me this far? And as we share the sentiments of what we did as a local church to help to connect with the senior citizens, the idea is to show that we are one and we need each other. We are interlinked. Whether we like it or not, we are interlinked. Deacon Martin began by saying we need to find a way to work together. We need to find consensus. We need to This community needs to have one mind with one direction. Who am I, O Lord? Who am I? Who are we that you've brought us this far? Yes, some of us did not make it. Some of us, this pandemic, this COVID-19, it took lives. We've lost loved ones, but we are still here. And we need to make a difference. Those of us who are remaining, we need to put a value to those lives that were lost. We need to find a way to work together. Whether it be financial, whether it be just giving a helping hand like we did over the weekend and this week, whether it's just by encouraging, whether it's by listening to each other, whether it's by obeying the rules, guidelines, whether it's by taking the vaccine, whether it's by taking another home remedy, whether it's by social distancing and wearing your mask, we need to find a way to work together. We need to make a decision. We can't listen to every single voice that is out there. We need to listen to credible voices. Our leaders who are elected, they're there for a reason. I would want to think they have the best interest of the country at heart. The doctors who have been studying for 5 and 6 years, and they have 10 to 20 years or even more of experience, they're there for a reason. It's one community. As we help those senior citizens, as we send the young to help, they're learning. Even Dr. Lee shared that he learned as he listened to them. Their voice is strong. Yes, they may appear feeble, but they can still share, they can still contribute. And it's up to you and I, the 40-something and the 50-something and the 30-something and the 20-something year old, and even the teens, who has to do what is correct, do what is right, do what you know is just, to ensure that they can continue, so that they can continue to share. Even Dr. Lee has learned, and he considers himself an average man, but he has learned. And I'm sure the youths who were there, if we bring them on this program, they would have learned something from interacting with those senior citizens. What are we doing as a society? Where are we going? We need to find a way to work together. Our leaders, national, governmental, civil, local, we need to find a way, and our citizens, to work together. Let's find this way. Let's work together.
Pastor Sano, you sung, when you started, you sung like Job. If I die, I die. Yeah. I would like to give God thanks because of my situation. 2 knee surgery and still have to go for a third one because one of the knee, is not taking the body weight. But I want to say thanks to God because I still could move around. I move with a walker, but I could still move around. I have 2 feet still. I don't have 1 foot and all these things. I could move. I could do things for myself and think. I was at the hospital and see the doctor and they gave me some nice advice and so on. But I must say, thanks God, thanks for keeping me. Thanks for just showing me a lot of love and holding me in your arms. I feel great, Pastor Son. I feel great. Thank you.
Amen. Brother Millie, you just reminded me of an event that took place in February of 2001, I believe it was, the 19th of February. Very, very special day for Guyanese. One of our boxers, Six Head, he brought home the world title. And when they asked him, who would you like to give thanks to? The man said, I would like to give God thanks for God. So giving God thanks for God, I thought that was very
That's unique.
it was wonderful to hear him express himself. Indeed, in the midst of everything that we're going through, we really gotta give God the glory. We gotta give him thanks because he has been an awesome God. We give him thanks today. We telling God thanks for different ones, different structures, different people in our lives. Let us slow down a little bit and give him thanks, give God thanks for spared lives. He has kept us. Look at what is happening around us. Are you better than anybody else? Am I better than that person who would have been struck down with COVID and may have passed? Was it impossible for you to be afflicted and pass? We know different ones who are going through different situations, as a result of this pandemic and the effect that it would have had on them. You could imagine what it is to lose rather a loved one. In some cases, two and three persons from one family would have passed. I mean, what kind of pressure and burden um, would they be feeling, And we really need to slow down amidst of all the hustle and the bustle and give him thanks, something that they're alive because of their own ingenuity. We're not gonna really bother with that. Here, Lamentations chapter 3. It says, "It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." In spite of everything that we are going through, his mercies are new every single morning. And so we have lots to give him praise and thanks for. Thank him that he's preserved you. Thank him for keeping you. You could have been somewhere else. I could have been somewhere else, but we want to give him thanks. And we can take it to another level by saying, in everything, give thanks. For this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning us.
You mentioned just now, Reverend Semple, about giving thanks to God. And, in this COVID-19 season that we're living in, I've tended to give God thanks for what we call the little things. Every time you wake up and you open your eyes and then you attempt to roll over and you put your foot in the bed, I say, thank God, because I could have woken up, I could have been paralyzed, different things could have happened to me. And but breathing, I must admit that sometimes I used to take breathing for granted. It's something we do without having to do it. It just happens. Until I started to follow what was going on in these COVID-19 ICUs with people struggling to breathe. And then that's one of the things at the top of my list now, I must admit. But the last thing you said, Reverend Semple, touched me when you said, you give God thanks in spite of everything. There's some times when we think things are going wrong and we say, well, all right, whatever worries me. But sometimes even those things that we believe are going to harm us or they might be putting us under pressure at the moment, when you look back at it, you see the hand of God and you see, if it weren't for God, this situation, I would have been consumed. But for that pressure that I found myself under at that period, it then led up to all of these other things that ultimately resulted in my deliverance. So I think even in the supposed hard times, the bad times, it is important that we give God thanks then as well. So thank you very much for that, Reverend Sir.
In spite of, I want to continue along that line, in spite of, I still give God praise and thanks for, in spite of the fact that I've been vaccinated, in spite of the fact that I still wear my mask when I'm out in public, in spite of the fact that I maintain social distance, I have come to recognize that God's grace is what protects me, because persons have been doing all that I've mentioned before, and they have still succumbed. So I want to point to a greater than what this world has shown, a greater than what this world may have experienced. I want to point to the fact that God superintends over the affairs of our life, and I want to thank him for his courage. Every morning, I get up, I give him thanks. When I go to bed at night, I ask for forgiveness of whatever sin I might have committed during the day and ask for his protection. So I don't take anything for granted. So I give him thanks. And I know you gentlemen can give him thanks also. And so thanks, Orson, thanks, Court. And so others, we can give him thanks also. Praise God.
I guess your brothers were reflecting on how good God has been to them and their family. It
Amen.
is good to give thanks unto the Lord and sing praises to his name. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and his mercies endureth forever. Today, we acknowledge that it is by the grace of God that we are still standing. We give him thanks for that. Our families are preserved. In the midst of the chaos and the pain, we've still found a way to make it. It is good to give thanks unto the Lord. And we will continue to probe, we'll continue to seek for ways in which we can continue to be a blessing to God and to the people who are around us. And yes, taking care of yourself, following the guidelines are all important things that you and I must do as we give thanks unto the Lord. Could you imagine sitting back, closing your mouth, saying nothing, and just floating? Ah, what a horrible life. And surely you will be consumed. But we have taken the responsibility. One, to be thankful, and two, to do all that we are required to do. And as we do so, guess what? The name of the Lord will be glorified. And you and I will continue to be a blessing to each other. I need you, you need me. We all are one big, great family, one love. God bless you. This is Choices. You choose.
I'm Celacia on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.